Genesis 1:28, God tells Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Now, this actually is not a mistranslation. It's replenish the earth. And it's interesting because we're told that Adam and Eve are the first people on the earth. Now, there's so many interesting things to point out in Genesis. I mean, I could talk about just Genesis for hours. Just Genesis alone. Because I believe we have been told things that make no sense at all. And when you reread Genesis and you know, with an open mind, you're going to find so many translations that just made no sense, okay? Like this one. Why are Adam and Eve being told to replenish the earth if the definition for replenish is to do it again, to refill it, or to do something again? When you say replenish, it means you're assuming that it's been done before. So if Adam and Eve are the first human beings on this earth, they wouldn't have been told to replenish, okay? Now, another thing I find fascinating, during the flood of Noah's day, after the flood, God talks to Noah's sons and tells his sons to replenish the earth. Now, replenishing the earth in this situation makes a lot of sense because Noah's sons are not the first people on the earth. So, of course, they would be told to do it again. However, when you go back to Genesis 1:28, when God tells Adam and Eve to replenish the earth, who is he telling them to replenish? Replenish what? Because again, replenish means to do it again. Now, what I find fascinating is the story about Cain killing Abel. When Cain kills Abel in the Bible, Cain is paranoid and scared that God is going to kick him out, which he does, but he's going to kick him out of the Garden of Eden, and Cain is afraid. And let's see what he says here, because Cain is horrified that he is going to get killed by other people. He even says it. He says he's scared. So what is he afraid of? Let me ask you that, because if he is, you have Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel. There are 4 people on the earth at this point in time. So who is Cain afraid? Who's he afraid of? If there were only 4 people on this earth, and now one of them you just wiped out, so there are 3 people, 2 of whom are your mother and father, who are you afraid? Who are you afraid of? Why does God have to mark Cain? Now, a lot of people say, oh, well, he had to mark him for the Nephilim and the monsters that were out there. So you think a monster would see the mark on his face and understand what that meant then? I would imagine maybe this is just symbolism. Maybe there's something much deeper going on here. That's what I think. And as it turns out, I believe I'm correct. This story goes so deep, okay? What people need to understand is the Bible, especially the New Testament, it was written by Greek Gnostics, the New Testament. The Old Testament, it lines up with a lot of other stories. What you need to understand is that the Old Testament of the Bible is the retelling of an old story, okay? It's not a new thing. It's a retelling of a story. And when you learn what the story is, it becomes really fascinating. If you're interested in learning any of this, you can go to my website. I love you all. This is my opinion based on my research. Jordan Maxwell teaches this. There are a lot of people, a lot of books out there that teach this. There's a book called The 16 Crucified Saviors by Percy Graves. That's a really good book showing you that there were 16 messiahs with the exact same story as Jesus, far before Jesus was ever even thought about. So learn these stories. I think it's important. I love you all, and I'll see you all hopefully at my website.